How's it going, everybody? This is Dominic Minchella. I am the Kansas City Chiefs beat writer on SI and the host of the Kansas City Chiefs Insider Podcast. Thank you guys so much for stopping in today. We will be continuing on with our 2025 Kansas City Chiefs player expectations after reacting to Trey Smith's record-breaking contract extension earlier this week. Happened on Tuesday. And before we dive into any more of these expectations, I do want to remind you, as I've done so for several days in a row, Kansas City Chiefs, they began their training camp on the 21st of July. Their first practice is the 22nd. As we know, training camp is one of the most pivotal times for players who are looking to not only freshen up from a long off season, but also look for a spot on the roster. Not every single man has a designated role thus far that we know of, but they're for the likes of, the superstars on the team. They know exactly what they're doing there. But mark your calendars, 22nd of July is their first practice, and it goes until around mid-August. But today, we're going to be talking about another young player who I think has the chance to prove a lot this season in a year that is very much a nothing to lose, everything to gain type season for wide receiver Tyquan Thornton. Now, Tyquan, he is obviously a former second-round pick from the New England Patriots. Now he is with the Kansas City Chiefs, and he has yet to make his Chiefs debut, but I'm fully expecting him, from what we've heard this offseason, so long as he has a good training camp with the rest of the wide receiving room, that I think that Thornton has a very strong chance of making a splash in the wide receiving core. That's my expectation right off the bat. But it can be overlooked very quickly, though, depending on how the Chiefs decide to use him. As we know, Thornton, in his career, he has 385 receiving yards. In 39 receptions, he scored 2 touchdowns, and hasn't scored a touchdown since the 2022 campaign with the New England Patriots. He does have a lot of speed to offer, which should only benefit his role in the Kansas City Chiefs offensive game plan, whether that's in punt or a kick returning, or being a guy that they go to for a handoff or just a quick toss, unless that they feel confident in getting him down the field with the speed that he does have. Maybe Patrick Mahomes, as we know, the Kansas City Chiefs, they're looking to be more explosive on their offensive game. So a guy who's got plus speed, mixing Thornton with the guy like Rashee Rice or Xavier Worthy down the field, he's going to be an option. While he's not going to, well, at least that what we've seen in recent history, he's not been able to be a huge factor on the offense. I think that he's in a new place. He's got new teammates. He's in a winning organization. Head coach Andy Reid has already discussed very confidently about him this offseason, saying that he likes Tyquan, what he brings. Xavier Worthy says that those two have a good relationship going. They used to, back when they first arrived together, or at least when Thornton joined the Kansas City Chiefs, they used to have a fun joke going on who's quicker. And that'll be that kind of internal competition is exactly what leads to success. However, I would say that I would fully expect Thornton to be kind of used as more in a returning role rather than a receiving role. However, Justin Ross being released on Wednesday, the 16th of July, I think that Thornton has a chance of becoming a bigger asset for the Kansas City Chiefs in that regard. While Ross hasn't been the biggest contributor, and as well as Thornton had looking to prove himself, I do think that there is some flexibility in the competitive nature in the wide receiving room in Kansas City that Thornton, should he deserve and earn an opportunity to be held to that standard and even being given a shot, I think that he has a chance. I think that it's the Chiefs wide receiving room in general is going to be electric. I've touched on this several times before. Rashee Rice is coming back, and now that we know that his trial date is set for the first month of 2026, he can be healthy. If he's so long as he's healthy, he's going to be playing on the Kansas City Chiefs in 2025. Something that will be so much more of an impact than I don't think players and other personnel in the organization realize at the moment, and even their opponents. The Chiefs are getting back one of the best up-and-coming wide receivers in the game, though when he has been healthy, he has been elite. Mixing that with veterans in Hollywood Brown, as well as a second-year guy in Xavier Worthy. There's a lot of different personalities, different skill sets, different attributes that each of these wide receivers bring to the game. Whether it be some of them, even Xavier Worthy was an option that we've talked about being in the punt return area. You toss Thornton in there, that's an extra guy that you've got for the depth. You want extra depth on the guy on the wide receiving area. Say one guy goes down to injury mid-game or has to miss a few games. Thornton has experience. Mix him in with a guy like rookie Jalen Royals. The Chiefs wide receiving room has some speed on their side, and they know that speed kills. Thornton fits that mold. He's speedy. He still has the willingness to learn. He has the willingness to succeed. He's going from one historic franchise in the New England Patriots to another dynasty building franchise. And so long as the Chiefs are confident in him right now and it progresses well, I'm fully expecting Tyquan Thornton to have a big season, and a big season in the terms of I'm not necessarily sure how many receiving yards or targets he will receive. In the past, he's had 45 targets be his career high and 247 career receiving yards be his high. I would just really like to say I'm fully expecting and hoping that for the confidence level of Thornton, Patrick Mahomes, whether it be Mahomes or Gardner Minshew, who is ever at quarterback, I hope that Thornton is able to secure himself his first touchdown reception in 3 years. I'm really looking forward to it. I've got a lot of expectations for him, while that they're not necessarily as high or pivotal as it would be compared to guys like Worthy and Rice. Thornton has a place on this team so long as he deserves it, and he earns it. That being said, though, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to follow me over on X at Dom Minchella. I post and repost every single day. You're not going to want to miss anything that we've got going forward as training camp looms around the corner. You can also follow us over at KC Chiefs on SI, where we post and repost every single day throughout our entirety of wonderful writers on the staff, covering the offseason into training camp, into the regular season. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, Chiefs Kingdom, I'm Dominic Minchella. Be kind to one another, and as always, I will see you tomorrow.